Hello everybody, welcome back to Hot Seats with Penzola. Thank you so much for joining me. We are definitely in season 3 and we are obviously hoping for much better and deeper conversations on Hot Seats with Penzola. Today I am chatting to the general manager of SAMRO, which stands for Southern African Music Rights Organization. His name is Karabo Senna, and we're going to be chatting about royalties and what SAMRO does for its members, because you must be honest, guys, we hear a lot about artists that die poor. We hear a lot about royalties not being paid to artists. So today I felt that it was important for us to actually chat to Karabo, because he is a general manager for member services. Let him explain to us how this royalties work, and why is it that there's so many negative content, or reporting around artists dying poor. What are they doing for these artists? Karabo, thank you so much for joining me on the Hot Seat with Penzola. Welcome.
Yeah. Thank you, Penny, for inviting me on the hot seat.
Yeah. So before we start, talk to me about the role of SAMRO. What role does SAMRO play? In
the music industry.
In the music industry, yes, for
artists. I think SAMRO plays a very big role in the industry. Okay. Firstly, SAMRO is turning 60 this year.
Oh, really?
So simply meaning that...
So it's been in existence for a long time.
Yeah, it's been there forever. It's the oldest society in Africa. First of all, music society in Africa that collects royalties.
Wow.
So it's not like something that was just started yesterday. So I think that's firstly the most important part. That's why whenever people speak about the music industry and royalties, they will also speak about SAMRO.
Correct.
And I think
because it's been in that existence for the
correct.
I didn't actually know that.
And one of the big things is that SAMRO is not the only collecting society in South Africa, for example.
Okay.
So you've got RISA, you've got Capaso, you've got SAMPRA, you've got IMPRA, you've got ECHO.
Okay.
But yes, I know it's a list.
It's a whole list. Yeah.
But I think what's important is that SAMRO is the biggest one out of all of them, not just in South Africa, but in Africa.
Okay.
So just to answer your question, to say, what do we do? So our main focus is to administer the rights of artists. So when we say rights, we mean literally once you create a song, what people enjoy and listen to in radio. This is a song
of the year.
Yes, that song. For us, it's actually a piece of property. That's what it is, because
it's the artist's property.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah, it is copyright. It's a piece of property, and this property can be monetized. So, how you monetize this thing is essentially getting other people to use it.
Okay.
And when they use it, they pay for it. That's the simple logic.
Okay.
So what SAMRO comes in and does, it says, listen, you as an artist, your job is to do what? To create music and sing and perform, right?
Yeah.
Your job is not to knock doors, go to YFM, go to Metro FM, go to SABC, go to MultiChoice, go to even a Pick and Pay or a Woolies and say, ooh, because you're playing my song, you must pay me. You can't do that. It's not physically possible.
It's physically impossible to monitor all of that, right? Okay.
So that's where SAMRO comes in.
Okay.
A SAMRO comes in and says, listen, we can do that on your behalf. So you literally just, assign us that responsibility, and then we literally go knock on those doors and make sure they are licensed. And then from there on, whenever your music is used, then we pay you a royalty. So essentially, in the simplest way, that's what we do.
Yeah. And obviously, for you as SAMRO to do that, I need to kind of follow a particular process and register and give you the kind of like the power of attorney to go then do that. Knocking. Okay.
Yeah. So whenever you want to be a SAMRO member,
how does that work?
The simplest way right now, before you had to complete like an actual paper form, but obviously we've sort of like improved, and now you can do it online. So you go on our website, you can go on online and then just choose under creator on our website, and then there's an online member registration that you can follow. It's just a simple wizard that allows you just to complete the necessary documents. And then thereafter we give you access to our portal. Then you start registering your songs, and we start monitoring from that moment onwards. Whenever your song is used, then we would obviously collect the royalties on your behalf. But what is important as well is that we have a lot of members. I mean, we have just over 100,000
Well, I can
members.
imagine how many people are creating music out there, right? And those that have already registered, and if it's been in existence for the last 60 years, people have been actually registered.
So we have about just over 100,000 members that we... So SAMRO...
That's still a little though. you know?
You know, interestingly enough, you would think it's a little, but it's a lot compared to other countries. Yeah.
Okay.
So in terms of just from a ratio perspective, I mean, if I can ask you, how many musicians do you actually listen to? Most people say, not more than 100.
Yeah, look, I don't
you know what I mean?
I listen to more than 100.
Yeah.
But generally, I'm thinking...
But it's a lot. Okay. And the bigger part is that we don't just administer for local musicians.
Yes,
we
you
also
are
administer,
African.
Yeah,
so
but even bigger than that, we also administer for even the international players. So here's the other part that people never think of.
Okay.
We administer for just over 4 million international players. So for example, if a radio station plays Jay-Z, how do you think the money gets to Jay-Z? It gets there via SAMRO. So we have to then collect from this radio station and then make sure that we pay the society overseas, be it an SCAP, and then they distribute it. Correct. So all of that mechanics.
And does that happen the other way around?
The other way around as well, yeah. So now a DJ Tira song is playing somewhere else, and then it comes to this side. So it's all a system that's designed to make sure that, no matter where your music is used, you are able to get the royalties. Right. So now imagine if you're not signed up with the likes of SAMRO. That means, how do you now collect if your music is used in Germany?
Yeah.
How do you firstly know? How do you even collect? So it becomes a bit more of a challenge. So SAMRO literally just puts that all in a nice ribbon and says, this is what we can do.
And is this only for music?
Yes. So we used to do it for more than music.
Okay.
We used to have a company inside SAMRO called Dalro that focused more on also like, paintings, also books and so forth. So
all sorts of content.
Yeah, so now we've broken that away from SAMRO. Now it's sitting by itself. It still exists. It's independent.
But it's independent.
Yeah, but now SAMRO is just focused purely on music.
Okay.
And I just want to add something as well. Yeah. I think when we say music, a lot of people think commercial music.
Yeah, I was about to ask, right? I was about to say, what if I record a song that's not out there, that's not being played by Metro FM, by radio station?
Yes.
And do I still register that song? Because it's mine, right? I mean,
You do, because a lot of music, there's a difference between two types of music in the industry. We call it commercial music. This is the radio stuff that we are used to. But there's what we call production music, because even when you listen to radio, when the news are about to come on, there's a certain song that you hear.
Yeah, like a jingle.
Yes, an advertise a jingle. Yeah. There's a station logo, Motsweding FM, something happens.
Okay.
Someone
created that.
Correct. All of that is music. And all of that carries a royalty as well. So every time it plays, somebody earns money. So it's not for free. Nothing is for free. And that's what SAMRO does.
Okay, cool. So I mean, it's quite interesting. And I guess for the purpose of this conversation, I'd like us just to focus on the music part.
Correct. Yeah.
And I mean, I want to ask the obvious question as well, around the times that we're in now. We started COVID and lockdown. How has that, I mean, in your opinion, how has that impacted, SAMRO as a whole, or the music?
Yeah. So I think firstly with the music industry, it has been devastating. I think that's one of the hardest hit industries in the country. Purely because we started off at level 5. That's the one industry that was shut down, like almost completely. Even now, now, yes, we're moving between different levels. But, when you look at organizers, you can't really make a decent income, putting 50 people in a room, for example. So a lot of musicians, actually, most of their earnings comes from performances. People think the earnings come from royalties. No, it doesn't. You will find that 70 to 80% of a musician's income
comes from being out there and performing and engaging people. So that's all gone now.
Yes, all that is gone. Now, they are now relying on probably 10 or 15 or 20% of the income, which is royalties.
And how often do these get paid? I mean, how often do the royalties, do you guys pay like a monthly fee? Or?
No, so what happens is that we pay throughout the year. So we will have we call them distributions.
Okay.
So we will have about 20 distributions, but for different things. So for example, we will have one distribution for TV, right?
Right.
So meaning all the royalties for TV will be distributed in that one.
And this is now TV playing the music video? Or,
TV play music. So it could be music like now on your show, you play music. And if it's on TV, that music, we also pay whoever, created that music.
And YouTube, like, I mean, I know there's artists that have YouTube channels now, and they're literally posting the videos on there.
Correct.
So you guys also are administering that. Okay.
All of that as well. So we have TV, we've got distribution for radio, we've got we call them digital services.
Correct.
So it will include your YouTube, Facebook, all of those services, Twitter. So we then encompass all of that, and then we distribute. Even your music playing on, obviously, like the likes of Spotify and iTunes. So it's just broken up into the different themes.
And what about the ringtones? Like, on certain mobile networks, there's like ringtones where you can buy and then it plays a song. So is that part of that?
No, that's not. So interestingly, the network will pay you directly, right? If they use that. So from our side, it's more in relation to just whenever it's broadcast. Whenever it's broadcast to a lot of people. Because something that I know it may sound too technical, but a lot of people do get it, is that in copyright there are different rights in it. A lot of people just say copyright, but it's like, no. SAMRO focuses on what we call a performing right. Performing right simply means whenever you broadcast music to your benefit as a business, but to a lot more people. Right? So whenever you do that, it actually results in, SAMRO collecting. But there is also something that we call a mechanical right. So whenever music is copied, so whenever music is copied.
Or like remixed.
Remixed, or every time music is copied, remember you're not playing the original. And people, we think, no, but why would you pay every time music is copied? No. If radio plays something, it's a copy. It's not the original.
It's not the original.
As well as if you download something or you stream something, you're not streaming the original, you're streaming a copy
of that.
So every time you do that, there is a royalty to it. So there are all sorts of royalties. And because SAMRO is focused on this one only focuses on whenever your music is broadcasted. It's more about broadcasting, to say those are the ones that we focus on. So a caller tune or something, it's a different way because it's only one person listening to it.
Okay, and then do you think artists or people that make music know this? Do they know what you've just explained? And I mean, what are you doing to educate and get? I mean, I called you here so that we can have this conversation, and so my listeners or my audience understands, including myself. But what is SAMRO doing? In educating members? Is there an induction that takes place when a member joins?
So, firstly, I think musicians don't really understand the industry well enough. And I say this not just for the up and coming, but even the guys that have been at it for years, they still battle, right? And I think there is also some insecurity of people saying, I don't know.
Correct.
And that's the biggest challenge that you find in the industry, because I am so and so. There is a reluctance to say, but I don't understand this. So we often, what we do though is we often create a lot of content, put it online. We go to a lot of music initiatives where we know that our audience will most likely,
it's the relevant audience,
correct. So that's what we do to try and communicate as much as possible. Besides the one-on-ones that people would have because they've maybe raised a certain query or something, and then something is explained. But the essence is that SAMRO's role will always be there to communicate to people, and making sure that people don't feel like they need to understand everything, but they must try.
I mean, you guys play a critical role, and by making sure that the information is available at all different platforms which your different members have, you're essentially just putting it out there, and obviously it's an interactive process. It really depends on the artist. If they want to know more, then they reach out. I mean, how accessible are you to these artists and to these members? Other than the digital platforms and the stuff that you put online and the initiatives that you guys attend, how accessible are you to an artist?
I mean, I think we are quite accessible in a sense that we have firstly a contact center, so like a walk-in center in Durban, right? We have one in Durban. We have one at the Playhouse. We have one in Cape Town at Artscape. as well as obviously then our main office in Braamfontein where people can actually walk in.
So they can walk in?
Yeah, they can walk in.
Right.
But I do understand that because we are obviously throughout the country, but in the other provinces, we are not necessarily well entrenched there.
Yes.
But,
Yeah. I mean, you're in the big cities, right?
Yeah,
not
that's where we
other
focused
cities.
on.
Yeah.
But we can always be reached via, obviously our call center, as well as, when somebody sends an email through to us on customer services at samro.org.za, we are able to assist, at any given time.
Okay, cool. Now talk to me about this black box. What is this black box that, artists keep talking about? And, and I'm reading about it, I'm seeing it. What's going on there?
Yeah. So let me explain it first what it is, because that people can understand, because it's always referred to as this pot of money.
Yeah, I want to know.
Like it's our money, but nobody wants to pay it.
Yes.
So what the black box is, we call it undocumented works. So firstly, undocumented already tells you what it is.
Correct.
It means somehow somebody doesn't know. It's like when you say you have an undocumented immigrant or something.
There's a product,
but you don't know who it belongs to, right?
Yes.
And then a work in the industry, songs are called works. Right? Works, because it's pieces of work.
Correct.
Somebody's work.
Yeah.
So the undocumented works, what it essentially means is that anytime there's a song that is used by a broadcaster, but it so happens that sometimes it happens, the broadcaster provides information to us. They don't even give us the title,
or the right information.
The right
about this product that they've broadcasted.
Correct.
Okay.
Now we can't just pay to just anyone.
For sure.
Correct. So we will obviously park it on the side. It's almost like a suspense account.
The black box.
Yeah, it's a suspense account.
Okay.
You park it on the side and you say, okay, I need to go and investigate
who do I pay?
May belong to, because I need to pay this person. And one of the things that we always try to manage here is how we actually let people get access to this, because that's one of our first responsibilities. So they can claim it if it's theirs.
Correct. Yes.
And then we need to pay it as efficiently as possible. So in relation to the black box, as people would call it, the simplest way is you need to become a SAMRO member, first of all. Secondly,
to have access
to this information, right? Because that's the only way we can pay you anyway, right?
Yeah.
And then the second point is, once you're a SAMRO member, you have access to the portal. In the SAMRO portal, you can go in there and you can go to undocumented works and you can look it up, because we will give you information, some just based on your name. Maybe sometimes we just have Penny, right? Or we might have Hot Seat.
Yeah.
And based on that, you could look and
see,
oh, this might be mine, and then you submit it through. So it's obviously all on the portal, and we will just validate and make sure that it sort of makes sense.
So this black box information is available.
Correct.
It's not something that is CIA undercover, something. It's there. If you're a member, you have access to it.
Correct.
You can look through it and then claim what is yours, if there is. Okay.
But the contention has always been that it was not always available before.
But was it not available before?
No, it wasn't.
So you've only now made it available.
So since 2020, we made sure that it's available to everyone. It was firstly available only to publishers. So that's the thing.
That's because it doesn't make sense, right?
Yeah. So in the industry, you find people saying, but why do the creatives not have access to it?
How do I claim if I don't know?
Correct.
Okay.
So now we've made it available to everyone. That's been fixed. So people need to go in there, look it up, and then hopefully through that, they're able to identify the works that relate to them, and they can notify them. So notifying just means you're just telling us this belongs to me, and you're saying, this song, I didn't write it alone, actually. It was me
wrote it with
and
Penny.
And this person, and then our shares are 50-50 or whatever it is, and then that's how we will pay. And it's as simple as that.
So you've answered my next question, because I was going to ask you what SAMRO is doing about this black box. So you've already answered that. So it was not available, it's now available. I mean, that's a great move, right? So it gives an opportunity for me to claim. Are there any other things further that you're going to be doing about this black box? Because I'm assuming that the way there's a contribution around the way in which it's administered, both from a SAMRO perspective and a broadcaster perspective. So what are some of the other enhancements that you guys are thinking of to fix this problem?
Yeah. So as early as actually July, right?
Yeah.
We actually sent a media release that we have just contracted with a music monitoring company. What that essentially is, it's like Shazam.
Yeah.
Think of it like Shazam, right?
Okay, yeah.
But Shazam for a corporate. You know? So where you're saying, listen, a lot of music is playing. So this company, you know, this is media host. It will actually listen to all the radio stations, digital, you know, like normal sort of frequency radio, and TV.
And I'm assuming online radio, right?
Online radio as well. Yeah,
stations,
online radio stations, everything. So all the stations that we've designated to it.
Correct, yeah.
And then it will provide a report to us of the music used. Now this actually helps us with two things, like two big things. Number one, you have almost like a 98% accurate record of what was used. Even traditional radio right now. I mean, we all know about Biola and all those sort of things.
Do they submit manual things, Konamani?
Yeah, it's still manual. Like, yes, obviously it's a spreadsheet of information, but it's manual.
There could be a lot of human error there. Because somebody has to punch in the name of the song and blah, blah, blah.
So we all know that as a background to say that's firstly a problem in the broadcasting industry.
Yeah.
So that's number one. So we get something that is a bit more accurate. And then number two, now we are able to get, because now the creatives can go and upload their songs onto this platform that we have. And then once this thing matches, we know exactly whose song it is. So now we have less.
So it now solves the black box problem.
Correct. Okay. We have less of those coming through because now we've just put it on your lap to say, listen, all you have to do is to upload your songs here, and this thing will just
merge, and then we'll do like a VLOOKUP, and then we'll see. Okay,
and then we move forward.
Okay, so it solves very big two problems.
Correct.
You know, the admin problem around the information given via manual process, which might not necessarily be true, but also from a member perspective, it gives them a platform to just upload and search.
Correct. And more control as well.
And more control as well. Cool. I mean, do you guys, I suppose you've answered this question as well around, you know, having control in terms of the digital platforms that are playing the different music. So your monitoring system now looks at that.
Correct.
And it will ensure if somebody plays on Facebook or YouTube or whatever. Okay, cool. I mean, and then what happens when there's a song that is identical to another song?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I can't think of a song now that I know, but I'm sure people have. I mean, okay, I'm quite a fan. So there's a Sikia Ngoma song, you know, that was done back then. But there were two types, and there were two songs, same title but different artists. How does that work?
Yeah. So with songs that have the same title, what you would often find is that the challenge is knowing exactly which song you have to actually allocate the usage to. So when we say usage in the industry, we are talking about, so this song plays 1,000 times versus this one plays 100 times. You need to put this usage under a certain one, whichever one.
Yeah.
You need to know which one is which, right? And the challenge comes in where the title is the same. Now, and sometimes it may not be clear from the broadcaster as to who are the actual sort of like, you know, people that, or the artists that are on the song.
They can just play
sometimes,
I love you.
I love you. And then sometimes that's what they give you.
Yeah.
People forget the broadcaster is not in the business of reporting to SAMRO. No. They're in the business of broadcasting and selling ad space. That's the business.
That's their business,
right?
You're right.
So reporting to SAMRO and the likes is purely just an admin function, from a compliance perspective.
Yes.
So from our perspective, what we would recommend is that when you have a song like that, or you remake a song, I could create a song like you said, Sikia Ngoma, and then the same artist even could remake it today with maybe other people. So you add somebody else just to add a different vibe, but you're remaking the song. Call it something else, Sikia Ngoma, and add something else, Sikia Ngoma.
Because that other one could be played
2021, or featuring, you know, Penny, or featuring whoever. Because then we are able then to see the difference, to distinguish. So, the title is slightly different, therefore it belongs to this one instead of that one. And somebody might say, but why would you want to distinguish between the two? the basis is that the two songs could have been written by two different people.
Exactly.
Right? So the one song, it was the three guys. And then this
one,
one is just one guy or two guys.
So the ownership might not necessarily
the ownership composition may change. So we always need to get that right so that we can pay correctly. So it's something that we just recommend, and it just makes a lot more sense. And especially even when your songs are, you compare your songs with titles that are all over the world, especially once your song becomes or you give it an English title.
Yeah, I mean,
there are so many other
songs
that would resemble that.
Correct.
And it might be maybe a bit unique with our own indigenous languages, but still, you can still have conflicting sort of like
and I know you say that it's an industry problem and it's not a SAMRO problem. But from a compliance perspective, so obviously the broadcasters know that they've got to report to SAMRO and it's part of their compliance.
Yeah.
But how enforceable is it for you guys to ensure that the information you get from the broadcasters is accurate? I know that from a SAMRO perspective, you're already digitizing some of the monitoring, which is going to help with that.
Yes.
But what role do you play that kind of enforces the compliance to be more accurate? Because we don't report just for the sake of reporting.
Correct.
Right? So what is that role with the broadcasters?
So that function is normally tied up in the agreement, right? So there's no actual legislation that would force a certain broadcaster to say, listen, my submissions must have an error rate of only 1%.
There's so there's no SLA, there's no performance.
It's more agreement based, where you are actually signing this agreement and you say, listen, this is what we need to fulfill this particular function, because you are paying a license, you are using the music, and the payment of the license for you, obviously, we are granting you to use the music, but we must pass it on. And for us to pass it on, we need this information. Because you are the user, you need to provide it to us so that we can go ahead.
Correct.
And even when we proceed with this music monitoring, we will still continue getting this usage from the broadcaster, because it's also good governance to compare the two. So you get this one from the music monitoring service, you get this information from the broadcaster, and look at both and say, but there's a variance of, 20%. Why? But overall, this is more a stakeholder sort of engagement type of process, not necessarily a legal one.
A legal one, okay. Okay, so it's more relationship based then. Okay. So talk to me about, right? I don't know if you've heard, but every time a well-known artist passes away, there's the narrative is always negative around how they die poor, how the Ministry of Art and everybody else needs to do something because our artists are dying poor. And now personally, I don't believe that the music industry is isolated. I do think that it's an industry that is the same as any other industry, right? But how do we deal with this narrative of, artists dying poor and artists complaining that the reason, and most of the time, the grieving family will always link it to say, this artist was not paid their royalties. So, which makes it sound like they died poor because SAMRO was not paying their royalties. Correct. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. So, firstly, I deal with artists on a day-to-day basis.
Right.
One thing I can tell you, even while artists are still alive, even before somebody passes on, you have a lot of artists that will, maybe openly they might not say it, but they will acknowledge that the first problem with artists that they don't manage their money well.
Okay.
So that's problem number one.
Problem number
right?
one.
Just so like,
while they have it.
While you have it, just like anyone.
Just like anyone that could be in corporate, right?
Correct.
That earns a salary and doesn't manage their finances properly.
That's the first thing. Okay. Because there is often
so it's not an artist thing, it's a human thing. It's a human thing.
Yes.
Okay.
And that is why even as SAMRO, we one of the initiatives that we are working on now, which we will broadcast once it's signed, is working with some sort of financial wellness partner to make sure that we educate people on how to manage money. Yeah. Because it's something that we just assume
it's a basic
people must know, but it's not something that's given. And
I must highlight, it is not only related to musicians.
Correct.
managing money and finances is a problem that any other person, not necessarily in the music industry, that they can have. So
it's just that musicians obviously are more out there,
and at the rate they get the money,
it's very quick.
Very quick.
It's very quick. So that's prompt number one. To say, okay, guys, let's learn how to manage our money. The second point is in relation to the agreement, where you find artists, are very quick to sign agreements, and not knowing all the terms and conditions that are binding to that agreement. Whether if this agreement will benefit you as much as you think, because that's why, you have people that will, make all these allegations, but you will find that nobody actually after the fact goes to jail. And you ask yourself,
held accountable because they're not,
why can't this thing be investigated and somebody goes to jail? It's because this thing was signed. Nobody robbed you, technically, It's almost like, but you signed this, you agreed to this, so that's why people, whoever, a record company or a publisher is taking such a cut. So,
I mean, in my assumption is it would be like you go to any other corporate environment, you apply for a job, they give you a contract that says you'll work 7 days a week, but we'll only pay you for 5. And then you can't go because, you signed, right?
You can't after a few,
say,
2 years or so.
Weekends and why? But you agreed that, the role doesn't come with paying up for a weekend. Okay.
And what we recommend then is that before you sign any agreement, read it, but more importantly, please seek legal advice.
You must.
Because that agreement is binding to you. And to a large degree, it could affect you financially. So that's the second thing.
You're not a legal specialist, so get a legal specialist to help you, right?
Correct. Okay. Help you so that you are able to make sure that you make the right decisions.
Right. Okay.
But then I think the last thing, which is quite important as well. So we've spoken about money management, we've spoken about agreements. But the last thing is making sure that, from a royalties perspective, royalties are what we call a passive income, right? It is something that pays, and it's very important. It is your life and 50 years after your death.
Wow.
They would still, as long as your songs are playing, the money will still come in. So from a royalties perspective, just do your administration. So you find a lot of people...
It's sort of like managing that wealth, creating something that will pay you in the future.
Correct.
That you can
even when you are gone, it still keeps on paying.
It keeps on paying.
Because the thing is that do your administration. Administration, I mean, make sure that when you've created a song, the song is registered. Make sure that SAMRO knows that I've created a new song.
Make sure you remember, make sure you access the portal, claim your stuff.
Correct. And then you are able to get all your money. So it is, I haven't sat in any scenario where a member or any musician who is signed up with SAMRO or any one of these societies has not received their royalties purely because it was kept away from them. No.
So so there is no intention of keeping away royalties, right?
No.
So I guess obviously what we hear and what actually is happening is not aligned, So talk to me about the collection itself. How much, I mean, on a rough figure, how much or what percentage, are you with collection? I think of it. It's collecting anything or collecting for debt. It's always difficult. So what is your collection rate and your versus what you pay out to the actual artist?
So SAMRO collects just over 500 million rands in a year. Right.
Okay.
And from that, just about 400 million is paid out as royalties. So technically, about
so the payout percentage is way higher than what you collect.
Yes. Okay. I mean, about just about 27 to 28% is used for administration.
For administration.
Yeah. So majority of it is actually paid out. And it's always interesting. The owners of SAMRO, by the way, are actually the members. SAMRO is not a private company in a sense of like a PTY Limited. SAMRO is it's an NPC. The members own the SAMRO, own SAMRO. So
they actually they contribute in terms of driving what SAMRO should be doing for them.
Yes, at the AGMs, members actually set the tone to say, what should happen is this. This is the direction. So SAMRO executes on their behalf.
I mean, I was reading quite, and I saw a few videos of Eugene Mtetwa from Trompies, being quite vocal about SAMRO and about the Minister of Art and all those things in terms of how this body should be governed.
Correct. And I mean, he's a member, right? He, obviously, yes, from a platform perspective, he can choose different platforms.
Correct.
But he has every right to go to an AGM and say, listen, guys, obviously convince other people so they vote accordingly.
Yes,
Say, listen, this is what we should do.
Yeah.
And that is why it's such an interesting environment, you know, being in the music industry and the likes of SAMRO, because you are not just working with clients. No, we don't. We actually work with the principal, you know, the shareholder.
Correct.
That's who you are working
the shareholder.
with. Yeah, and we are always trying to do that, and
but
that's
more
why
than
it's always
convincing
challenging.
the rest of the members, but it's more about, you know, if you suggest something that is great for the bulk of the members, it shouldn't be really a difficult thing to convince.
Thank you.
You
Thank
understand?
you. Yes.
It should be easier to vote for something
Yes.
like that, right?
Yes.
And what are you guys seeing around the contribution of the members for one? You know, sometimes, you know, I think of it like being a trustee of a body corporate, right?
Yeah.
It's easier for you to just being a trustee, but the actual contribution and the work, the heavy lifting, nobody wants to do that.
Yeah, that's tough.
Exactly. So what is the culture like for members of SAMRO? You know, whilst they are complaining and writing stories, are they actually contributing to driving what they want?
That's a very good question, because, you know, sometimes that is where the problem starts.
Right.
You know, where it is much more easier to maybe tweet about something than actually do something. I like your analogy. Yeah. You say, you know, you can be part of a body corporate, but essentially when somebody says, oh, we need to attend an AGM.
Or when the gate doesn't work.
Yeah, it's like, you blame somebody else, right?
Yes.
So what we find is that we have, out of the 100,000 members, we've got what we call voting members.
Okay.
Voting members are essentially two categories of members. These are associate and full members.
Right.
So these are just about 20,000. We have just about 20,000 of these.
Of the voting
members.
Okay.
Now, the interesting part is that when we have an AGM, right? I mean, we have an AGM every year.
Yes.
Like run about just, you know, late
Okay,
November.
first of all, do you even make the quorum? Can I ask that?
No, we do.
Oh, you do make the quorum.
We do, right? We do make the quorum.
Yeah.
But out of, what I want to show is that out of an organization with 20,000 voting members, we will most probably have at the most about 250 members attending an AGM. And this is where policy is discussed and is created.
Wow.
So already tells you there's a problem. There's a systematic problem where it's easier, yes, to complain after the fact, but when you
there's
have
a problem
to
with initiating the change that you want to see.
Correct.
That's it.
Yeah. So yes, you might have certain key players pushing for something, but of course you need a lot more than that. I would like to imagine that if you have 20,000 members, to get 10% of them to log on, because now you can even do it virtually. You don't have to be there present.
Yes.
So to get 2,000 of them shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah,
shouldn't at all.
Yeah.
You know. And later on, people say, yeah, but where did this come from? And we say, but we discussed it at that AGM, and it was voted and it was decided. So that's why it's happening. And now it's news.
And chances are minutes were sent, right?
Yeah, minutes would be sent and all of those things. But the issue is be involved. Be involved, because then you can create the change that you want to see.
Yes, absolutely. I like that. Karabo, we could sit here and talk the whole day, you know, because I do think that there's a lot of negative stories, and there's a lot of, you know, artists that are really struggling, and perhaps it could be either the willingness to get involved, and sometimes it could just be the knowledge. And I really appreciate you coming to share this knowledge with us, understanding what does your organization do for members, its current members, as well as those that would like to join. Where do we find you? You know, if somebody's got a question out there that really wants to, you know, understand the admin, and I like the fact that you spoke about it's not only commercial. So if I did a song, I did a jingle, and it's not out there, I still want to do the admin now in case it does. So where do people find you? So I think the easiest platforms would be, firstly, the SAMRO website, which is www.samro.org.za. Right. This website would give you most of the information in relation to you as a member, what you would need to, the forms you need to complete, and any other additional information, right? And then as well as you can also visit SAMRO at on Facebook, YouTube, as well as on Twitter, because that's where you will find most of the current information as well, that, you know, you would be able to then constantly be informed of as a member or prospective member. Sometimes, you know, you're just interested. You've got some talent. You know, maybe I'll get there. Just sign up to those, and
over time, you get to be more informed and follow also I think the industry. The industry is quite big.
Yeah.
You know, and you still have a few sort of like in places where you can get a lot of knowledge.
Yeah.
And I would say, you know, it's not just about SAMRO.
Yeah.
Because we focus, as I said, remember, one right. So easily follow SAMRO, follow Capasso, follow SAMPRA, follow RISA. Understand
Just
what everybody's doing
so
that you expand your knowledge and you'll be able, because you need to be a member of all of them actually. You can't just be a member of SAMRO. That's one of the things that I always try to demystify. Say, no. You have to be a member of all of them.
All of them, so that you can get the support that you need.
Yes, and also the royalties. Everyone pays a different royalty.
Exactly.
And they will pay you your different, don't leave money on the table.
Yeah.
So for me, that would be where you need to go. Our website would be the most, you know, ideal place, and then the social media points.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Always
Guys, that was definitely an interesting conversation for me. I think I'm in a much better position in understanding what SAMRO does. And, you know, for any prospective member out there, you know, I think for me, the key things is, you know, not just the music industry, but in any industry, understanding your finances, managing the money, especially when it comes in a rapid format. And also just get legal experts. So I think in the artist industry, a lot of people try and do everything themselves because I guess, you know, like my guest mentioned, there's an inability to say, I'm not sure how this thing is done. So get the help you need in order for you to protect the rights of your work. Thank you so much for joining this conversation. Please remember to subscribe, like, and comment. And if you do have a question for Karabo, please drop your comment. I will definitely get him to answer your questions. It's been a real thing. Goodbye.